Someone is banging on your back door. Okay.
Someone's just banging on it?
Yeah.
Right now? Like actually?
Say, I don't know, it's like middle of the night, like 1 a.m. or something, like just middle of the night.
Oh, I'm
Somebody's
grabbing
banging.
my gun.
And they're like, please help me, let me in.
Nope. Sorry, buddy. I can help you by turning you away. Actually, I'm not even getting that far. I'm not even talking to them.
It's like, what is like your whole thing? Like, what is your, like, what are you going to
our like glass window?
Yeah, like if somebody was like banging on it, like visibly distraught, asking for help.
On our back window. Okay, so let me set the scenario for everybody.
So I guess like maybe even, not even necessarily your back door, but like on your door. Like where you can at least see out like a screen door.
Well, it's going to be very different situations on either door. So tell me which door.
Back door.
Or back door. Okay, yeah. So our back door is glass. It's a sliding glass door.
Mm-hmm.
We have curtains over it. But if I heard banging and somebody screaming that they need help, first thing I would do is grab my gun. Second thing I would do is arm the AR. I'd give you my pistol.
Okay, well maybe I should go.
Hold on.
I would hope you would tell me to go to our children.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then I would get on the Ring camera. I'd have you grab our daughter, and I'll tell her or him to go away. Mm-hmm. I'm not helping you. Get away. If you try coming in, you will get shot.
Okay. Okay, and then what else? That's it? That's all you're going to do? You're not going to call the police?
I really hope I don't have to think about what happens after. I hope they...
Well, I mean,
yes, I would have you call the police.
Okay. So, I'm just setting the mood, okay? So...
Okay, so far this scenario already is kind of freaking me the hell out.
I know,
already it's freaking me out.
Well, this happened a little while ago, okay? So, this is 1987. Okay, I'm gonna take you back to 1987 in Boise, Idaho. Have you ever heard of the Chop Chop House?
Yes, I think.
Yeah?
The Chop Chop House in Boise?
Yes. The exact address is, I have it here somewhere. Fun fact, I was able to find court records, so that will be cool. We'll go through that and, like, see how funny, not funny, but, like, how, like, it's just funny how people are, like, get caught literally, like, red-handed and still are like, no, I didn't do that. It's 805 Linden Street in Boise, Idaho. It's kind of like...
Is that house, like, people live in it now?
So, it looks like nobody lives in it now. It's pretty run down now, which is pretty depressing, because it's, like, on, like...
Linden is It's
a pretty nice neighborhood.
Area, yeah.
And apparently, you can get, like... You can go to court for that, or she'll go to jail for that and have a really hefty fine for buying a home, letting it just, like, become, a condemned home. Like, you can get fined for that if it's in a certain district that's, like, protected or something, which this one is. And I'm surprised they haven't done it, but they didn't move forward with charging him on it, which I'm like, that's kind of crazy. But either way, the person that bought it, has rented it out in early 2000s and then just kind of stopped.
Oh, this was recent.
Yeah. Well, no. The murder was back in 87.
Okay.
Sorry. Something in my eyeball. But the guy who took it over bought it in 2000 and then rented it, like, to some college students and stuff, because it's pretty close to, I mean, not super close to BSU, but close enough where, I mean, college kids were trying to live off campus.
Of course.
But I don't want this to get confused with a college story, but I wanted to give you just this little thing before I'm going to keep you on your toes for just a little bit longer, because, you know, Reddit is super cool to find some real encounters and things. So I was like, oh, tell me about the Chop Chop House. Who, like, you know, stuff like that. Well, what kept on coming up was just this random little excerpt, and I just was going to throw it in here because it was close enough to BSU, and later on I'm going to have some testimonies from BSU students, so I just thought it would be fun. So, in the Boise State University Communications building, there's apparently a little ghost in there. So I know everybody likes a good little ghost story, so I figured I'd start us off a little bit more lighthearted. But there is no proof of this ghost.
Okay.
There's not even proof of her death.
That's like, what I'm talking about.
This is all college kids saying they feel spooky in a super old building.
Yeah.
Dinah is her name because people would be like, they've done all sorts of stuff where they're like investigators, paranormal people, like trying to find it.
Mm-hmm.
Classic college student. And somebody was like, I'm pretty sure someone's in here. And they were like, if you're in here, let yourself be known. Nobody does. Nothing happens. And then they say it again, and the piano starts playing Someone's in the Kitchen with Dinah. Like, that's the name of the song. And so now the ghost name is Dinah because they were like, oh, they were trying to tell us what their name is. I was like, okay.
Sounds like somebody reaching for attention.
Yeah.
But I'll let it slide
but
this
I'll let
time.
it slide, like, like a nice little one. But they say that computers and lights turn on and off in places. I'm like, yeah, if you're in an old building that hasn't been updated, but that's fine, whatever.
Yeah, okay. I like your thinking on this so far.
Yeah,
I thoroughly enjoy it.
But they say that back in the 1950s, this girl was going to a dance, one of the dances that they have, with her boyfriend, but he canceled on her last minute.
Okay.
And she was super sad, but she thought if she went, she would feel better about it. Like, she would just be like, you know what? He couldn't go. That's fine. I'm just going to go. Well, guess who she sees there? Homeboy with another girl.
Ooh.
So she was distraught, and she ran out crying and ended up in the bathroom and hung herself there.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh my gosh. Like, this is intense. But that was the whole story of her. But people say they feel like
seems pretty dramatic if you ask me.
Yes.
I don't. But also, my guess is that probably has happened before.
Yeah, I just feel
Unfortunately.
like. Yeah, I feel like it definitely has happened. I mean, it's honestly a pretty solid like movie plot. Like, has anybody seen like I thought about Carrie first off when they like took her there just to pour blood on her. Dude, freaking savage. But
Yeah. Honestly, one of my least favorite movies. I don't know how it got so popular.
it was just
or
that old, like the new one or the original one.
The original one. Like, it's such a huge like pop culture reference.
Yes, and I think horror movies were just so different back then.
Yeah.
They were so like blood and guts.
Yeah.
Stephen King. Now they'll scare the freaking poop out of you.
The freaking chainsaw guy. Not really that interesting.
Oh, like
Jason.
that's a hot take. People say, what, you like scary stuff and scary movies, but you haven't seen like the Friday the 13th or the Screams. Like, that was just different scary to me.
Arguably, the scary movies
The-
were
the
far
knockoff-
better.
the knockoff, like,
the scary
funny
movie
ones.
one.
The parody movies, that's what they're called. Yeah. Those ones were funny.
No, those.
And it gets the gist of it. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, though they
Remember,
were.
they used to do that for all that.
Yeah, they were
like
better
Twilight?
than all the scary movies.
Remember they did Twilight? They like did a parody movie of Twilight. It was
They
so
did one
cringe.
for Fast and Furious
yes.
too.
Those, I'm like, where are those at?
He's got
you're
one of
gonna-
those blue thingies under the hood.
All I'm saying is, if we're gonna keep on remaking a movie, can we at least do some of those again?
Why can't Disney do that? Seriously.
like, poke fun at your movies.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I knew I was gonna start off a little intense,
That was a little intense.
so I wanted to reel it
I
back.
hear footsteps outside of our garage, and I'm like, I have to fucking shoot somebody.
Don't worry, it's just Amazon. You're fine.
Is it really?
No, I just Miguel gets blown away on how fast Amazon is. I mean,
That's
it's
still
9 o'clock
crazy.
at night, and I ordered something, and it should be here between like 4 to 8 a.m. tomorrow.
Crazy. Before I leave for fishing, it'll probably be here.
It's crazy.
That's so nutty.
I know, it's crazy.
It's so kooky.
kooky. So,
Anyways, okay, we'll get back on track now.
now back on track. Fun little fact, Dinah.
Dinah.
I hope she's in peace,
my gal.
just haunting people. Honestly, I'd love to haunt some people and just like scare the poop out of them. one
Honestly,
day.
what better place to haunt somebody than a university?
You get new people all the time.
every year almost you get new kids.
And it's like think it's like where a lot of like English like 101 classes are. So you're
yeah.
really getting the new people in there.
Yeah, your legend lives on.
Yeah.
And you just like, you know what? I'm gonna scare the shit out of this person today.
Just keeps on upgrading.
Yeah.
I would be crazy to see like if you were in time, like stuck in time like that, just to see the progression continuously happening.
What would be your number one prank?
Dude, oh, that's such a good question. Like at the school.
Yeah. Like if you were Dinah.
Dude, honestly, I would be relentless. I would like restart their computer right as soon as they finish their essay.
That's so fucked up, dude. Actually, that's far worse than what I was going to say. They're just about to hit submit, restart. Didn't even hit save yet. Oh, that's so fucked up.
Everything's autosave now, though. Like, let's be honest.
That is true.
Um,
So you can't do that.
low key, mess with the Bluetooth. So if they're like watching something in the middle of class, it just starts blaring.
Ooh, that's bad news for the freaky kids. Just in the middle of the class.
Stop. But like, I would totally do it to a kid that was doing that in the middle of freaking class.
I would do that. I was thinking more along the lines of like
tying their shoelaces together or something, or what?
like a wedgie in the middle of class, or like somehow
I'm like straight
being
up
able to grab
embarrassed.
physical like stuff. Like if I could grab like chocolate, and then as soon as they sit down, drop it under their seat, so when they get up, it looks like they shat
That's
themselves.
That's a good one.
See, I think I would do like more of that.
Yeah, more like not childish, but like more like juvenile pranks.
Yeah,
See, I would be to where
something super subtle though.
low key they might get in trouble with like student council or whatever.
That's
it is
crazy.
there.
You're wild.
Maybe I'm just maybe a little too savage, but especially if they're mean to their teacher or something, dude.
Oh,
Mess
they're my
me up.
number one target.
They're my
They're
number one.
they're gonna
If they're a
supposedly
good
shit
student
themselves
that
every
there's all
day.
the time, whatever.
Hmm.
You can be there. I'll leave you alone. But if you're being a little not like a naughty kid, you're out of here. I'm pranking you extra.
Okay, well, you heard it here
Anyways.
first. If you start getting haunted and you can't submit your paper, just
And
blame
I'm
Sam.
dead. First off,
Yeah,
let's
and
remember.
Sam's dead. Just blame Sam.
Okay.
It's probably her. Okay, back on track for
back
real.
on track. Okay. The Chop Chop House. So,
805 Linden.
dang, that was a pretty good memory.
What can I say, dude? Got memory like a goldfish.
So give him about 10 minutes and we're done. Okay, so Chop Chop House, yeah, R.I.P. dude. This poor kid. Preston Murr, he was murdered. He was 21.
Just a young buck.
Yeah. And I don't know if I really want to I kind of want to just go through it like court record wise, because I mean it paints a picture. Like they have to, right? They have to be able to do that for the whole court record. So,
Yeah.
Preston, so I'm going to give you a whole, we're going to go through the timeline.
Okay.
We're going to start from where Preston was convinced this started.
And I don't know. Hold on. I'm going to let Sam do kind of a trigger warning. Is it going to get super graphic or not?
I mean, it'll get pretty graphic. Not too bad. No, I'm not going to, from what I understand, it was quick, but the poor kid would have been, scared shitless. I mean, of course, you were getting murdered. But, trigger warning, there is dismemberment, so if that freaks you out.
Okay. Yeah.
But he was dead already, so if that makes it any different.
Okay. Well, just so you guys
So
know,
that is
before we
your
continue,
warning.
that is your warning.
Yes.
If you want to continue,
Awesome.
Let's
If
do
not, I'm sorry. This was just random and close to home, so...
don't be sorry. This kind of stuff makes my stomach uneasy, but
Yeah, I think I have had a really hard time getting back into any kind of crime thing. Especially having our kid, our daughter. But this one was especially finding the court record, and this is it was just kind of weird. And
that's all right. I'm ready.
Yeah, 'kay.
I'm ready. I used to love true crime too.
yeah. So Preston Murr, he attended a funeral. So we're setting the mood, okay? He was at a funeral in Boise,
Okay.
June 29th, 1987.
Wow.
That afternoon, he and a small group of the funeral participants became intoxicated and belligerent.
Typical in 1987, I think.
Yeah, and reminder, this kid is 21.
Mm-hmm.
A fight broke out between Preston and a couple of other people. Police were dispatched to the scene. Preston and the other two were cited for disorderly conduct.
Wow. Not even underage drinking.
I know. He's
Oh, wait.
not. He's 21. What do you mean?
Yeah, you're fucking right.
So later that evening, Preston calls the police from his sister's apartment where he was he was staying with his girlfriend. So I don't know what's going on with this kid. Also, we get a little bit more into it. I think he was running with the wrong crowd. I think drugs were involved.
Oh.
So, because when we first were reading the story, I was like, why is he hanging out? I think it's like a 31 and 37-year-old or something like that. Like, it was just like, why are a 21-year-old hang out with, like, why are you doing that in your free time? But it makes sense. There was drugs involved. So, anyways, but he was staying with his girlfriend, over at his sister's apartment, and Preston told the police that someone called and threatened to kill him.
Okay.
So he called the police and was like, hey, by the way, somebody's trying to do this. Preston then made a phone call to Rogers, which is so we have Cox and Rogers, that's their last names. Darren Cox and Daniel Rogers. So 37 is Rogers, 31 is Cox.
Okay.
Called them and was like, dude, I need to know who's trying to kill me. Don't know why these two would know, because they also, sounds like they weren't also at the funeral. So
yeah,
I was like, how would they know if it was because of that or something? I don't know. So he left his girlfriend at the apartment, went to the Circle K on Boise Avenue to meet Rogers and Cox. When Rogers and Cox arrived to the store, Preston was observed using the payphone while holding a baseball bat, because he was like,
just amped.
So, he ended up joining Rogers and Cox, and Rogers' car drove up back to his sister's place, where three of them discussed the threatening phone calls and the whereabouts of a gun that has been stolen from Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
How convenient, Rogers. What do you mean your gun was stolen from you? Three left the apartment, drove back to Rogers' house, 805 Linden Street, where Rogers obtained his gun. So he ended up finding his gun. I was like, okay, whatever, dude.
Yeah, so far the story is...
It's a bunch of, like, people where I'm like, did you guys talk about getting your story straight before it happened or what? So...
Yeah, seriously.
According to later statements later made by Rogers and Cox, Preston wanted to show Rogers an apartment where he believed Rogers' stolen guns were located. So it sounds like maybe he had other one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
But at first we were like, okay, he stole your gun, but you went to go get his gun. That makes no sense. So this little trio, I don't know what a ragtag group this was, but they drove through Boise trying to locate because like it sounded like, because it's like they're trying to locate the apartment and the person who allegedly stole Roger's gun. Either they were trying to keep their mouth shut and not say anything, or they were just genuinely driving around until Preston's like, somebody? Oh, it's that one. Yeah. It's that apartment. Like, what are you doing? But I am guessing they were on something at that point.
Sensing the rage.
Yeah, they were just like getting amped, and you're just like, we're finding the people. He stole the guns. This guy, I bet, is also trying to kill our guy, blah, blah, blah. Preston eventually told his girlfriend, like, what he was doing. Was like, hey, I need to call her and let her know what I'm doing. They come back to Rogers' house, Linden Street, the Chop House. Around midnight, an altercation breaks out. Preston gets shot in the shoulder with I don't know how to say this without sounding stupid.
Okay.
A .357 Magnum.
357 Magnum. Yeah.
357. Okay, yeah. Thank you.
So respectable round.
Handgun. So he got shot in the shoulder.
Damn.
With that sucker. He ran out of the house, understandably, in an attempt to escape. While fleeing his attacker, he attempted to enter the home of a neighbor. The neighbor heard pounding on his door and somebody screaming, "Let go of me." So, then an anguished yell. So, let go of me, and then just somebody yelling. So, he peeks out the window. Neighbors saw someone chasing Preston. He finally was apprehended by his assailant and taken back to his house. Unfortunately, then Preston was shot in the back of the head with that same gun, just straight to the brain.
Jeez.
So
was this was at nighttime?
Yes, this is just short. Well, just barely after midnight did the gunshot go off, and then it's like, within like midnight to 1. This is all happening.
Okay. Even knowing that. And the first question you asked me, what would I do? I don't think my stance would change. Like if somebody was banging on the back of my door.
My instinct was, you first are like, oh, why wouldn't you open it? Actually, it wasn't even my first instinct. I'm lying. I think somebody, if that is your first instinct, readdress your common sense just a little bit.
Yeah.
That's at least personally, because first off, if you live alone, You don't know, that could just be a ruse. But also, second off, if you have a family, you have not only yourself, you have everyone else in your house that you are putting at risk.
Yeah, I think my first gut instinct, even knowing the whole backstory, it still stands. I would not open the door.
I wouldn't have opened it either. 100%. And that is, but still call the police. Don't be a bystander where somebody else will let him in.
Yeah, still call the police.
Don't do that. Call the police. But unfortunately, if he got in, they could have just killed them too.
Yeah.
Who said he wouldn't? Somebody who's going crazy enough to go follow this kid again, he wants to finish the job and he's not going to leave any people to witness it.
That's not happening in my house, dude.
Yeah. So, still as it stands, I would still do the same thing. So, neighbor, he called the police and reported the commotion outside. And then he was like, also, there's 2 people, moving around the porch and yard. Then he saw one of them hosing down so he calls, and then he's like, hey, there's 2 people, they're moving around the porch, they're being really weird, they're hosing stuff down with the garden hose. One of them approached
What the hell? They just turned on their garden hose?
Well, homeboy got shot.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then went up to his house, the neighbor's house, and was shining a flashlight to be looking for something. People were looking to see how much blood was left there. The neighbor watched through the curtains, expecting the police arrive. They never did. They never came out. Ever.
Very cool.
I don't know what they were doing in the 80s, but it wasn't showing up for anybody getting murdered.
They're like, it's the 80s, man.
They're like, somebody's tripping. What?
What in the world?
Yeah.
That irks me.
I know. Not until, I might end up coming back to it later, but either way, I'm saying it now. Not until the next day when the neighbor went out to go on his porch, was like, dude, there's blood out here. And called back and was like, you guys need to come out here. There is blood all over my back, all over my porch.
That's actually so insane.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the kid would have been, dead anyways, but still, because it was, timeline-wise, it was they pulled him down and instantly, but
they should have sent somebody out still.
100%. Because then they could have mutilated his body, because this is what their bright idea was to cut him into pieces with an axe and knives, in the basement of Roger's home, and placed him into plastic bags, threw him into the trunk of a brown ground thank you, belonging to Roger's wife, which I would like to point out, homegirl was home.
What the fuck?
Yes, she was like, I just heard the altercation. Also later on, Rogers, because I'm not going to go into all the he said, she said, because Rogers, of course, is, it was all Cox. He was the one with the problem down there, and then I just came down. Oh, really? Homeboy, in your own house?
Mm-hmm. I had no idea what was going on.
I just came down when I heard the shot, and I was like, what's going on?
They used my guns, they used my house, I had no idea.
So I was like, okay. But, so during the early mornings of June 30th, Rogers and Cox drove it out by Weiser. Drove the car out to Weiser.
Okay.
Right, Idaho and Oregon border, for whoever doesn't know what Weiser is. And then most of the body parts were thrown into the Brownlee Reservoir. Part of the body did not sink and was taken to a bluff approximately 100 yards above water. Plastic bags, bloody gloves, and other clothing were discarded in a dumpster behind a convenience store in Meridian, Idaho.
What the heck?
Yeah. So the next morning, when the neighbor was like, oh, bruh, there is blood on my back porch. Are you guys going to come out or what?
Yeah. Natural response, honestly.
The other thing was he saw this brown sedan parked on the street, right in front of his house, and then it drove off all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So he was like, and that's when he was also looking at his front porch. He's like, dude, this is some weird stuff going on. What's somebody get out here. Sure enough, the police finally come out, and seeing the trail of blood, they call for backup. Okay, cool. The blood was splattered on the neighbor's house as well as other houses, so he tried other homes too.
Oh my gosh.
But the area was blocked off investigators arrived to see if anybody was injured inside the house. After knocking and calling without answer, the police sealed off the area, waited for search warrants, and then got inside after they got the search warrants. I am going to say that because, like I said, everybody doesn't want to go to jail, right? You don't want to go to jail. But it was, I think it was one of the guys, his brother, he was like, oh, the search warrant wasn't admitted until late afternoon and they busted into your house in the morning. None of that counts. Your lawyer should have caught that. You think the lawyer doesn't know to look for that? That's like one of the first things you look for when you are caught red-handed.
Yeah, that's what I learned in Suits. It's inadmissible in court.
All I'm saying is, I mean, even in the 80s, the lawyer had to learn what to, like, that's like the number one thing.
Yeah.
Is making sure the police actually follow the rules that they are given. If they break those rules, all that stuff doesn't get a count. So yeah, they're gonna already have looked at that, bub. You and your non-lawyer degree doesn't help.
Hey,
I guess
Google
they wasted.
University.
I'm like, watch a TV show every once in a while, dude. But of course that was brought up. But no, it was in fact, they have call logs. They genuinely have a call log where it proves the timestamp of when they got into the house, and it is after the cutoff, or like before, like, or it's after they admitted the search warrant.
Yeah.
So okay, but they found blood in the house, a lot in the basement.
This is the 805.
This is
we're
London
at
Street,
805 London right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Drugs, money were found.
What kind of drugs do you know?
It just says drugs. It never goes into specifications.
Okay.
They discovered a bullet fragment inside a clothes dryer and a bullet hole in the top of the basement stairs. They eventually located the handgun belonging to Rogers in the bottom of a cabinet. But Rogers and his wife were arrested that same day they were smart too, because they got them on possession of controlled substances and other drug-related charges. Mm-hmm. So they had them for something very physical and that they had. And then a few days later, they discovered Preston's body along the banks of the reservoir. And that's when they're like, yep, that was you.
I mean, honestly, it's not going to take a super detective to figure that out. Like, oh, there's blood all over. We got calls about this that we didn't show up to. And now there's a body hanging out in the reservoir an hour away, 2 hours away. Yeah. Suspicious. Yeah. To say the least.
Also, they were just waiting for at that point, they were like, okay, there's a body going to be here. So where is it? Mm-hmm. They found it.
Yeah.
So, separate trials were held for both. I could go into all of it. But he got, let me see if I have it easy. I to want to see what he got, because he was upset that he got life. Oh yeah, they got life.
Life? Is he still in jail?
They're still in jail. So one of them died, both of them died. I can't remember. I should have checked that. I forgot.
I want to see what this turkey burger looks like.
Daniel Rogers is the first one. And I'm guessing you could look up Boise Murder House or Boise Murder.
Boise, Daniel.
But
oh yeah, Daniel.
They were saying how it was unjust that they got life. I was like, dude, we are in Idaho. You could have gotten the death penalty. Death penalty is still alive and well here. You're crying about having to sit your life in jail when you could have been put to death at that point, you know? Yeah. So, just saying, which one would you rather have?
What was the guy's name? Daniel Rogers and what? And what?
Darren Cox. Daron Cox.
Darren Cox, Boise Images.
I know, I'm going to see if I have it here.
Oh, a white guy and a black dude, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, you look up their two names and...
together, and I bet they get it.
Yeah.
And I bet I have it at the end here, in the back of the trial notes.
Dude, this is crazy. Wow, it looks like such a beautiful house, too.
I know, if you look at it now... there's a full tree growing through the front. I'm like, dude, this guy just let it rot, which is just awful.
Whoa.
So,
okay, I had to put a face to the name.
Yeah. But anyways, so they definitely are doing their time. But like I said, James Howell bought the house in 2000, which was really funny because
James Howell, you hadn't said that name yet.
Yeah, so he's just the guy who bought the house.
Oh, that's right, because he was renting it out to these
guys.
Yeah.
But I want to say when we were reading it, it was like Howell was in here. Like, it was like a brother-in-law of one of the guys. So I was like, I wonder if, like, somebody in the family bought it, but I couldn't find, like, an actual correlation. But Howell's not maybe it's not, like, a super uncommon name. Maybe there's other Howells, but yeah, it was kind of weird to see a different Howell show up in the court records, and then one bought the house. I don't know. Just seemed a little weird.
Could have been in the family.
You never know. But bought it in 2000, rented the house, but it became a popular choice among the students because they wanted off-campus housing, but there was always rumors of things happening.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, none of it is confirmed, but...
Of course.
One very persistent was, I thought you would like this one, claims that fraternity brothers have reported seeing blood dripping down the walls for basements for years. Yeah. It was like a hazing or what's another word for it? Initiations to be a part of the fraternity. Mm-hmm. Another one was the basement was creepy and had a weird feel.
Well, of course, if you think about what happened, of course it's going to have a fucking weird feel. Are you kidding me?
I hope it has a weird feel, dude. Yeah. Somebody died there.
If you got a group of guys and everybody knows the history, and one of the guys like, yeah, it feels good down here, kick that guy the fuck out. Get him out. Don't talk to him anymore.
I'm so sorry. Could you imagine? Go into like a super famous house and like, I feel at home here. Yeah. Could you imagine?
Gosh, the energy is just good.
You're like, I feel powerful.
Yeah, no, get that guy out of there. Don't talk to him anymore.
You should feel weird down there.
Yeah, and have the police put tabs on him.
Talk about a freaking crazy prank to do. Like you're on a tour. Like they're like, now over here is where it happened. And you're like, I'm feeling powerful. You like growl or something. Anyways, okay. We take people down there to scare them. I never saw any ghosts, but I could tell something wasn't right.
Yeah.
We got another one. Rachel R. told the story that her family almost bought the house back in 2000. And to this day, she still gets anxious thinking about the tour of the home.
Ooh.
So, and then, this is one from a renter. This is my last story for it. According to Dan, Dan and his friend thought they heard somebody trying to break into the house. They went out to the front porch to check things out. No one was there. And after looking around the front yard, Dan turned to face the house and saw a big, black, oily-looking thing. I don't even know how that is, but okay.
A big, black, oily-looking
thing. In the window of the bedroom upstairs. He remembers seeing the shadowy figure move from the window towards the bedroom door before it disappeared. Shortly after, it reappeared outside in a mirror sitting on the porch. Dan watched as the ball of oily blackness moved down a large column of the porch, slowly growing in size until it took up the entire reflection of the mirror and moved right through him. It was the weirdest, most disturbing thing I've ever felt, and just typing this makes me feel it again, like ice fingers sinking into my shoulders.
I believe that one, actually. I believe that one. Out of everything else you've told me, I do believe that one.
But yeah, that's what I got about the Chop Chop house. But yeah, I hope I wasn't too triggering.
No. I don't think you were. I just feel like if we're gonna go that way, we gotta tell people.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I'm not saying murder's like anything light, but I've definitely heard some rough stuff before. Mm-hmm. And this one I was like, okay, that's like a swallowable enough one that I can not be like crying about later.
That's the scale.
Yeah. Right now it's like sometimes I get like too worked up where I get like too emotional about it, where I get like either like crying or like just get too in my head about it. This one I was like just questioning it the whole time. Like the police not showing up really marked it for like a
that irks me. I've told Sam this, but I don't know if I've told our listeners this, but So for my work, I travel sometimes, and I travel. I don't know if you guys can hear the rain outside, but it's raining.
Yeah, it's pouring.
We go up to Spokane every so often.
Spokompton.
Yeah. Well, Spokane, Washington. Hate that place. But we have a couple of locations up there that we manage, and on 2 different occasions, we have had like people overdosing or actively dying on our properties, and we call the police up there. They don't care.
No,
you can't do anything.
Yeah.
One of my coworkers actually, somebody had died in the dumpster in the trash enclosure. Had to go
from an overdose. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to call the police on that one. They came and just picked him up and took off. But my boss was up there recently, and there was somebody actively dying. Like, I think they were on a drug overdose or something. And my boss was like, didn't want to get too close to him, but I was like poking him with a stick and like, hey, buddy, you okay? Hey, buddy, you okay? And he kept on calling the police, and they were just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're not going to send anybody out.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it's so sad, because then I was telling Miguel about it today. We learned death is kind of morbid, for sure. I mean, it is morbid when you actually think about it, because like we were talking about the hospital and how one of the hospital I work at, like they forgot to build a morgue in it. But then like their solution was like, all we need is a 2-body like fridge that was just held on like a random area outside the building. Just because they're like, well, people usually picked them up within 2 hours, so it didn't really matter. I was like, that's just like so weird to think about, like someone who was here and within 2 hours they're gone, already going off to do anything else. And then you have like, the overdose. Oh, wow. Like, it's just like so sad to think about it in such a blatant.
Yeah, it is a weird concept to think about, because I don't know. Like, growing up, you think it's like you live forever almost. I'm definitely not old by any means, but it's just like, dude, it's freaking limited.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's the point, though. I think when you are younger, you're supposed to feel like that. If you feel too trapped or too overwhelmed by that, then I feel like then you don't get to live enough of it. And don't get me wrong, we're not saying like, oh, we're just going to die one day. Like, you got to live your life to the fullest, and you just have to remember that you only have a certain, like, you never know what's going to happen the next day, because, like, it truly is a total mystery. Like, within even an hour. Like, I don't know if I've told Miguel this one yet, but my boss was telling me about how she was in a meeting and one of her, like, coworkers was saying how, yeah, I had a whole week off, but I was in the hospital and doing therapy most of it because I was in a really bad car accident where, like, the whole side caved in, and my son, Junior, was supposed to be in the car with me. When I asked him 3 separate times, like, hey, like, go to the grocery store with me. And he was like, no, Dad, I really want to watch cartoons. And she's like, okay. And he's like, are you sure, bud? Because he always goes with him. He's like a little mini dad. I mean, he is a junior. He's literally a mini dad. And he's like, no, Dad, I really want to watch this cartoon. And then he's like, I asked him one more time, and he told me no. And I was just, okay, I'll just run to by myself. Would he have been in the car? He would have maybe not even made it, because it was his side on impact, and it was so bad that he was like, I don't even know if he would have been able to walk out of that.
Yeesh.
You just don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen every single day. You have to just remember to live it.
Yeah.
LIVIN, living.
That's right. You got anything else to add?
No, that's it.
I got one last thing to say.
Oh, do you want me to lighten it up?
No. I'm going to right now.
Oh, okay.
There was a Instagram video I saw, and this old lady was talking to her family saying, like, I bought this urn, and you guys are going to put me in it. I bought the nicest one because this is the one I want to be in. It was a grandmother. And then they were all like, Grandma, don't say that. And then the grandma goes, I yearn for the urn.
Dude, I had somebody say, like, do you know you can buy urns on Amazon? I was like, no.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, one of the girls, like, unfortunately, her mom had passed, or her grandma had passed, but once you get to a certain age, almost, I feel like it has to be a relief at a point, because you're always, you know, you can always be in and out of hospitals, in pain, all that kind of stuff. And that sounded like the scenario. And he's like, yeah, she bought her grandma's urns on Amazon. She did too, because her brother and her wanted to split her. And I was like, stop. And he's like, yeah, she said it was awesome. It was like overnight shipping too. I was like, dude, Amazon's getting crazy.
Dude, they are. Next
They're
thing you know, they're going to be
wild.
like, you need a coffin?
No, they do.
Prime delivery?
They offer it. They offer caskets.
You need to deliver it by 1 and 2 p.m.? That's
Dude,
so
it's crazy.
crazy.
It's crazy.
That is insane that they do
Yeah,
that.
I
Caskets,
know.
Coffins. Caskets or coffins? What's the difference?
Maybe a style? I don't know.
I
Couldn't
think
tell you.
Dracula stays in a coffin.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But
That is so...
it's like maybe bed and mattress. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah.
That is crazy. I didn't know they did that.
To lighten up the mood, just to send you off with some good vibes. I was really wanting some ice cream. Miguel was like, yeah, let's go get some ice cream.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about this.
I figured it'd be a perfect way to send you guys off. So there's a local place, great ice cream, Stella's Ice Cream. Always recommend. They ended up not having what I wanted, but I went up to the person and I was like, hey, do you guys have any like cotton candy or bubblegum flavor? Because I love a good cotton candy ice cream. If
She
anybody
does?
did mess me up. But not everybody has it. So I asked, and they're like, you know what her response to me was? She said, we don't have those, but I do have more kid flavors in the back, like cake batter. I was like,
dude, cotton candy's such a kid flavor too.
dude, I was like, I'm
I
a
know,
full
and
girl.
and I
I'm
was
almost 30 years old.
I was carrying my daughter.
So I think she was like, oh, for her. I was like,
her. Yep, it's for her.
I was like, yeah, it's for her.
Do you have Captain Crunch?
Bro, what do you mean? But also, like, I also said to me, I was like, I mean, anything with sugar is a kid flavor. I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
she like crashed out a little bit. Not gonna lie.
But if you're gonna ask for cotton candy or bubblegum, just beware because you will be called a child.
I simply don't get those flavors.
I've given birth to a child. I should not be called one.
That's a good point.
Man. I just really want some cotton candy ice cream.
I know. I'm surprised they didn't have any, to be honest with you.
I know.
I feel like it's more of a Baskin Robbins things anyways. They probably won't judge you there. It's too commercial.
Yeah.
Too industrious.
They just don't get paid enough to, like, judge.
Yeah.
They're just like, whatever, dude.
Baskin Robbins, man.
I know. There's a couple around here. I still see them, and I'm like, oh, you are still alive. Still
You know,
alive and
I'm not even
well.
gonna lie to you. I think I had never been to an ice cream store.
Until me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, you do have to remember we started dating at, like, 16.
Mm-hmm.
So you're
Still.
almost halfway through your life with me, so we were children.
Damn.
You just never went out. What can I say? And you didn't have your license
Hey,
until we
don't say I
started
never
dating.
went out, dude. I fucked up Chuckarama. Oh, actually, they had ice cream there.
They did, but that doesn't count.
Why not?
Like, you have to go to a dedicated ice cream spot.
Yeah.
Cold Stone?
Oh, yeah. We went there. You and I went there.
Mm-hmm. They, like, mix the flavor in. Mm.
Let me think. Yeah, I honest to God don't
You've
think...
been to a snow cone shack? I feel like that counts enough.
Snow cones?
Also, you are lactose intolerant.
That's never stopped me before. I'm trying to think.
You guys
Snow-
would go to Sonic all the time.
Yeah, that's an ice cream place.
That's
Would you
an
count
ice cream place, yeah.
that? Yeah, that is true. I would do that.
Dude, I used to
I-
work at Sonic, and Miguel's family is like 11, 13,
12.
12, right?
When we're all home.
When everybody's home, there's 12. So I would know it was Miguel's family when I was, because I'd be in order for 12 large milkshakes with show up.
Hell yeah.
And I would do it. And that's how Mateo got one over on me. Because you guys would always order all larges.
I
And then I
remember.
know
This
now.
is another funny story.
I know now. I was like, okay, I was 16, you guys. I know now that they would like save the large, or I'm guessing your dad would finish it off,
Yeah.
Mateo's. Because,
Mateo's my little brother, by
yes,
the way.
at this point, he's what, 6? 7? 7. I think he was like 7 at this time.
7, yeah, probably.
He was like 7 at this point. And it was before Miguel's lacrosse game. And Mateo and I were like, hey, so they were like, hey, you guys go to watch Miguel play. So I went and we were like, okay, let's get a milkshake before. And he's like, I want a large. I was like, I don't think you can get a large. He's like, yeah, my family orders larges all the time. And I was like, well, you're not wrong. I was like, maybe they let this kid have a large milkshake. Sure enough, I order him a large strawberry cheesecake milkshake.
And bro sucks it down.
Dude, I was like, okay, you're done. And I was like, I think your mom's going to be here soon. He starts slurping. He's just chugging it. I can't remember if your mom showed up or if I was like, dude, you're done. Like, I can't, either one was a motivator for him to
keep going.
Genuinely make himself sick.
Yeah.
Because Miguel.
Because after the lacrosse game, we get back home and it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock or something. And I hear yakking. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I go into my parents' room, and there's my little brother bent over the toilet, throwing up ice cream. He's just like, oh. And I'm like, whoa. He's throwing it up.
Oh, my
gosh. And I think the next day he was like, I'll do it again.
You two are brothers.
Yeah, seriously.
But
I'm pretty sure the next day he was like, it was worth it. Or something like that.
He still tells me, yeah, it was worth it.
Yeah. He'd probably do it again now.
He would actually have a little bit more stomach space for it now.
That's true. He'd probably down a large.
I remember I was like, I'll never be able to show my face to Miguel's parents again.
That's so funny.
It's still like a core memory.
Yeah.
Miguel.
He was crazy with sugar, man. Any kind of sweets.
I know. I remember him sitting on my lap one time, just eating an ice cream cone, and like only half of it got in his mouth, and my legs were just covered. And I was like, cool, dude. He's just licking. It was like a free cone or something at Dairy Queen, I remember. Because Mateo was with us so much when we were in high school.
When we were in high school, he pretty much hung out with us all the time.
But, yeah, it's so funny. Kids and their sugar, dude, they just get crazy.
Yeah, they do. Him especially. He was crazy with, like, Halloween candy. All kinds of sweets. Any kind of, like, extra sugar that he would have. Yeah, he'd get crazy about it.
He's so funny.
Anyways, that was awesome.
Smell you later.
Toodaloo, buckaroos, or bubble guppies.